What events or influences from your childhood shaped who you are today?
So my dad was military, so I grew up with a very strict military disciplined environment, and I was a natural born entrepreneur. So I was one of those kids that would run around the neighborhood, knock on your door and say, hey, my name's Greg. I live down the street. I need to make some money. What do you need done? I'll do anything. I'll cut your grass, rake your yard, wash your car, babysit your kids. I need to make money, and so I was just kind of wired that way. So door to door sales, right? Going knocking on doors. And my dad, what I didn't realize at the time, it used to tick me off. So he kept a ledger of every penny he gave me as a kid. So he never gave me money. He lent it to me. So he would keep a ledger of every dollar he gave me. And then whenever I would take the lawnmower and use it, I would have to pay him rent for the lawnmower and gas and oil and all that. So he would take a percentage of my earnings. And then he would apply whatever of the earnings to what I owed him. And then I would be able to keep what was left over. So he taught me at a very young age, about accounting, and the cost of doing business. So that was one. Hard work. So I did everything. As a child, I did all the chores: cut the wood, cut the grass, edge the grass, wash the cars, clean the garage, clean the kitchen. My sister cooked, I cleaned. So my dad used to joke, but I think he was dead serious. He used to say, we had kids so that we could have our own servants, and that's why we had kids, so they would do everything. And man, we did everything. So I cleaned the pool. Did it all. So hard work and the cost of doing business was ingrained into me at a very young age. I'm high energy, and he wasn't a great dad. So it was an abusive environment I grew up in. He was mean, and angry, and he grew up in a bad environment. But he was a military. He went in and enlisted, came out an officer, so he could work hard, he could focus, and he was a go-getter, and he'd get it done. So I learned a lot of great lessons in terms of social graces and things like that, and how to conduct yourself like an officer and a gentleman and all those things. But at the same token, it wasn't a good home life. And He was out to sea a lot. And when he was home, it was no fun. So, I was kind of a troubled little kid, got into a lot of trouble, scattered, doing a lot of different things. So I was not a good student. So when I graduated high school, I went right in the Navy. And I'll tell you, that probably saved my life, because I went through that process. And even growing up with it, it's even different when you go through it yourself. And the discipline that taught me, and the lessons that you learn being in the military. And I'm a natural born leader, entrepreneur, so I've always been put in charge. So even in boot camp, I was made a section leader. I didn't volunteer. They just said, hey, you're in charge. They just, you can see certain people in a group and who's a leader and who's not. So I'm always the one that got picked as captain. I'm always the one that led the team, always the one that got, chosen in the military as a leader of my section, my area, my department, and then even when I got out of the Navy and I worked in the corporate world a little bit in a couple of different jobs, I was a manager, leader, district manager. It's just kind of how I'm wired. So I think going back to that whole military discipline and, understanding social etiquette and how to conduct yourself at all times as a officer and a gentleman, I think have kind of stuck with me the rest of my life.